Before we get started with the main event, I'd like to just give two quick thank yous. First, I want to thank our search committee, which was led by Assistant Athletic Director Melissa Lemire. It's not easy to replace a coaching legend in Coach Waterbury, but Melissa and the committee did an outstanding job of attracting an incredibly talented pool. We had almost 100 applicants, many of whom were head coaches at the collegiate level, and I applaud them for helping bring us to where we are this morning. Second, I'd like to say a quick thank you to the man to my left. Perhaps no one coach has had a greater impact on Plattsburgh State athletics than Coach Waterbury. He has served the college and the department with distinction for over 30 years in various capacities and elevated our men's soccer program to one of national prominence. More impressive than the number of victories that he's had on the field are the job that he did mentoring countless Cardinal student athletes over his career. He is lauded by many as having a major impact on their lives. Much more will be said about Coach Waterbury in the coming weeks and months as we honor his service to the department and to the college. But I cannot tell you enough how thankful we all are for his commitment to Cardinal athletics. Now for the main event. It is my pleasure this morning to announce today that we found our successful men's soccer candidate right here in our backyard. Plattsburgh State alum, an exceptional player who was a catalyst for a national caliber team during his time here at Plattsburgh State. He has enjoyed a very successful coaching career, which included working with some of the best mentors in the game of college soccer. Throughout the past couple of weeks and months as we've undergone this search process, I had an opportunity to speak to a lot of those mentors that he has had a chance to work with over the last few years. And without question, it was clear to all of them that he is one of the brightest rising stars in the collegiate coaching game. We're fortunate to have him, and it is my pleasure to welcome back home to Cardinal Country, class of 2011 alum, Chris Taylor.
Thanks. Well, thanks, Mike, for the nice introduction. I'm very excited to be back at Plattsburgh. When I left here in 2012 to take a job at another college, I don't think I realised at the time how much I was going to want to come back to this place. But it didn't hit me till I actually left, and from the moment I left, I've had it on my mind that I wanted to come back here, especially as a head coach, because the impact that this college and in particular the soccer programs had on my life and my career has been profound. I would like to thank the search committee for all their work, and I know there were some other really strong candidates too, but I'm grateful that you see some potential in me as the head coach here to continue what is an unbelievable tradition at this soccer program, and that's thanks to Chris Waterbury. He's the reason I'm here. When I came in 2007, I don't think I ever imagined this relationship going this far, but I wouldn't be in the position to take this job or to have had any sort of career without him. I think I came here back then just thinking I just want to play some soccer and I'll figure it out after that, but with his mentorship, guidance, constant prodding and pushing to do a little bit more, I think I've really found a real passion in my life, and I knew I always wanted to stick close to the game of soccer, but he gave me a path pretty early on that I could be a college head coach, and he showed me the way forward early on. And he's had a profound impact on a lot of people over the last 30 plus years, and I know particularly people that I'm close with, he's had an impact on them, but I'm not sure that anyone feels the impact as strongly as myself. I still laugh at myself when I'm addressing teams and even addressing the Plattsburgh team last night. I find myself saying little Waterbury-isms now and again, which I hate myself for, but it shows the effect he has on you all the time, that you go back to the little things he says that at the time you're like, oh, I'd never say that, and then you go and say it and you think, oh, this guy's really had an effect on you. So I'm really excited to be back. Plattsburgh's a huge passion for me as a school and as a soccer program. I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am today without this college, the education I received and the experience I had. So I can't wait to get started, and this is a big opportunity for me. I've been at a couple of other colleges since leaving, but none with the prestige and expectation and talent that Plattsburgh has. So I can't wait to get that started, and really enjoy what I hope is going to be a long relationship here.
Thank you, Chris. And I asked Coach Waterbury to join us, so for any questions that if you have any questions, Joey, Rick, or Ken, any questions you guys may have, anybody else have any questions?
I'll start with you, Chris. I was just going to ask, obviously you did mention how much, Waterbury had an impact on your coaching career. You obviously were at Clarkson recently, not that far from here. Was that your first head coaching job?
It was.
Yeah. So just as far as what you've learned over those last couple of years, not too far from here, to be able to bring back here as well.
I learned how to build a team in my image, as an assistant coach, and Chris will echo this, especially when I was around. I thought I knew it all, and I thought I had the best ideas, and the head coaches don't know what they're doing, and it's all you. And then you become a head coach and you realise you know nothing, and you kind of start from scratch. So I've made some mistakes in the last few years, but I was allowed to as a young head coach, and I needed that experience to get to a place like this. And I've learned how to build a team in my image. I've refined some of my methods in what I want. I have a pretty clear idea on how I want the game of soccer to be played, how a Chris Taylor team looks. And I just think I've learned through trial and error what works, what doesn't work, how to motivate players, how to make them enjoy playing for you, how to push them to give a little bit more than they have, how to find the full potential within them. And I'll be honest, I think we can run out of the amount of times where I've called Chris for a little bit of advice here or there. In the past 6 years, not just at Clarkson, but as an assistant, we've shared ideas a lot of the time, but I've always had little questions for him about recruiting. He's one of the most legendary recruiters out there for all his crazy tactics and methods that have worked, and I've had some of the best players in Division 3 to come through here. So I just think I've learned who I am as a coach over the last 4 years, and what I want, and what I want my teams to look like, and what I want my experience to look like. I think, again, 5-6 years ago, if you'd have asked me, it was all about the soccer side, and that's still at the forefront of my mind, but I've realised quickly what the experience can be to the players when they leave, and it's not just soccer. What are they going to remember the experience as? So it's been a big experience at Clarkson. It was an amazing experience. It was a tough place to leave, a very tough place to leave, because they gave me my first shot as an inexperienced coach, but an opportunity to come here was too good to turn down.
And you mentioned, too good to come back here. Obviously, you know what the Plattsburgh the history is of this program and stuff, but of course you bring a little bit of your own. What do we expect to hopefully see from them in this fall?
I hope that you'll see a truly strong team again. There's a lot of good returning talent, and we're still working on bringing some more players for this coming year. But the way I like to play the game is in an attacking style. I hope and I think it's going to be a really exciting team to watch. We're going to try and dominate games. Plattsburgh still has a reputation, so teams come up here and all they want to do is just not lose. So we've got to be a very dynamic team. There's a lot of pace that Chris Waterbury has brought in over the last few years, and this team has a tradition of attacking soccer, and that's what we want to see. We want to be aggressive, press other teams, and make it hard to play against us. We want to get back to the top of the SUNYAC as quickly as we can, and we want to compete with those top teams to be in the national spotlight.
With all the time that you've spent at Foster State with being a player and then, obviously coming back, how is that going to help the transition, coming into this head coaching role now?
I think it'll help a little bit, but I'm wary. I don't want to refer back to myself as a player too much, because it's different times. The SUNYAC right now is more competitive than it's ever been. So it'll help in terms of sharing little anecdotes and experiences, and maybe you can relate to the players a little bit, because I've been in their shoes if they're struggling, if they're having a good moment, and we can relate to those, and I can tell stories of other players that I know of, both past and present. So I just think it'll help to understand the players a little bit better. And the last two schools I've been at, in terms of what they're known for, it's been vastly different, and I think that's one of the things I've had to adapt to is relating to those players there. I'm going to feel really at home here in terms of understanding the players, why they're here, what they're going to get out of this experience, and I think that'll really help the transition.
What was it like addressing the team last night? What did you kind of tell them?
It was exciting, you know. For the first time, it made it real. You know, it hasn't felt real until that moment when I got back on the pitch and saw the team, and it was great to have Chris there with me and introducing me to them. And I didn't say much. You know, there's going to be a lot of time to talk and explain what we want to do. But all I told them was how excited I was to be back, and as an alum, what the expectations I have of this program, which are pretty high. And now as a head coach, I feel responsible for those expectations, and I want to put it into practice as quickly as we can and get started, and then we just got playing, because that's what we're all here to do. So it was cool, and it made it feel like I was truly back home, and you know, it was probably the coolest moment we've had in the last couple of weeks.
You know, to see Chris come back, now he's going to be a coach. When you were coaching him, did you see that, you know, there could be the potential for him to be stepping up into a role like this?
Absolutely. Oddly enough, I think Chris is, and help me out, Chris, I think it was his junior year, he was the captain on our team. And I think that was the first year we went with one captain as compared to 2, 3, or 4. And it's because, honestly, we didn't need anyone. And it was, you know, we should have got him on the payroll already, because he was already an assistant coach for us, and constantly telling me what to do and everything else. But no, he was just a natural leader, and I think it's pretty obvious as you hear him talk how much his passion is, not just for the game, but for Plattsburgh as well. So it truly wasn't a hard transition.
Could you picture a better, obviously you've spent countless years here at Plattsburgh, could you picture a better replacement for you coming into the season?
I'm really, really excited for Chris. You know, again, as I said, you know, you can just see the passion that he has, the excitement that he has, he brings to the program. It's, you know, it's infectious, and that passion will be infectious amongst the players. Maybe more importantly, you know, I'm excited for Plattsburgh State and the soccer program, because they're getting a great coach. And so, no, you know, in terms of fit, you couldn't ask for a better fit.
Yes.
Just had one more question for you, Mike. You know, what makes Chris a good fit for Plattsburgh State?
Well, I think I would just echo a lot of what Chris just said. You know, the fact that you know, that he played here, that he lives in the area, that he understands. One of the things we're trying to do with our coaches is get our coaches to get involved in the community, get them involved with Plattsburgh. And we do a lot of community service. We do a lot of engagement in the community. So the things that happen outside of coaching that are also big pieces of the puzzle in terms of who we are as a department and who we are as coaches. Certainly he brings a lot to the table in terms of his understanding of the campus and the area. But then, as I said in my remarks, you know, for me personally, the fact that he had an opportunity to leave here and work for, you know, he spent some time at Vassar working with Andy Jennings, who's a very good soccer mind. He had spent time with Chris before he did that, and then serving at Clarkson, and I got some outstanding recommendations. I know it was hard for Clarkson to lose him, but their administration spoke very highly of him, which speaks volumes to what he brings to the table. So there was a lot of different factors that made it very clear that he was a great fit for us. All right, thank you, everybody.